Iran is still committed to peace?
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I'd never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because the one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Great America Show. It's great to have you with us. I don't know about you guys, but it's been an interesting week for America here at home, for America abroad. That was President Trump earlier this morning before departing to the Netherlands, where we'll be taking part in a NATO summit, putting some pressure on these NATO countries to spend a little bit more money to defend their countries, of course, because NATO's not really doing much to defend us here at home. But I want to start tonight's show with commending President Trump. Over the last week or so, I haven't been as critical as some more libertarian hosts, but I was very against, President Trump taking any intervention in Iran. And I think it's important to stand corrected and come out and correct the record when you're wrong or when you believe that something took a different course than you believed it was going to. And I think it's important to come out here and say that Donald Trump has handled this situation, I think, perhaps better than I ever expected. I think perhaps better than anybody expected. Maybe not all, but I think a lot of people, when you hear the thought of intervention in another country when it doesn't involve America, the only thing that comes to my mind is history. And what had happened in Afghanistan, what had happened in Syria, what had happened in Iraq and Libya, and so on and so forth. And I think that's what had gotten to so many of our minds when we learned that America may be taking some sort of intervention into Iran. And it scared the heck out of me. I went to a school where I trained with a lot of guys who are fighter pilots right now, who are deployed overseas, internationally, here at home. And the thought of them going into to fight a war just scares the heck out of me. A lot of good friends of mine. So when I first, heard of America maybe taking intervention in Iran, it scared the heck out of me thinking of my good friends and the thought and the loss of possible loss of life in doing so, which is where I'm at today, where, I have to commend President Trump on this mission that he had now brought Iran to their knees. Not one boot on the ground in Iran, not one plane landed in Iran. It was a quick hit and run, and boy, did it do damage, because tonight we have some great news to report. Iranian media is confirming that ceasefire is in full effect between Iran and Israel, and they are also confirming, according to the president of Iran, that they are now ready to resolve their issues with America. It brings chills to my spine just hearing that, because 4 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, never did I imagine there'd come a day that Iran would even come to the table to negotiate some sort of deal between America and Israel and Iran, where we may see peace in the Middle East. In my opinion, Iran is the last piece of the Middle East that, if we could bring together diplomatically with Israel and America, would fully create peace in the Middle East. Donald Trump has done his job with the Abraham Accords. He's done his job with Qatar, with Saudi Arabia, with the UAE, to normalize diplomatic ties with America and bring everybody to the table through the Abraham Accords, ensuring that Israel is safe in the Middle East, that they have neighboring countries that will protect them in a time of need. And as I said, in my opinion, this is the key piece to finalizing peace in the Middle East. And if anybody is able to do it, it is Donald J. Trump. U.S. intel also finding out tonight that Iran did indeed not move any nuclear material from Fordo ahead of that attack Fordo was that underground bunker where they believed all of the nuclear components were. So I don't know if it's a coincidence that now Iran wants to come to the table on their knees, that Donald Trump absolutely obliterated their nuclear plans. But the fact that Iran is even considering coming to the table to talk some sort of peace, and Donald Trump has been very clear, there is no peace with Iran without them giving up any sort of component of a nuclear weapon that they have. So Iran knows that. So for them to come out and the president of Iran to come out and confirm that they are now ready to speak with America, and of course we have to take everything they say with a grain of salt. I'm not saying this is a done deal by any stretch of the imagination. But the fact that they now say they are ready to come to the table to talk to America, knowing damn well that any deal will include them giving up nuclear weapons or enriched uranium or whatever, is a massive step. And Donald Trump does not get enough credit for the job that he does day in and day out. You heard him on the top of the show there, having to play babysitter. I told you guys to do this, and I told you guys to do this, and you're bad, and you're bad. It shouldn't have to come to that. He's got a job to run America. And he's got a lot of stress doing it with Democrats day in and day out giving him hell. And now he's got to go negotiate broker peace deals, which he's done. He's done in his first term with the Abraham Accords. And he's got to do it all over again now. Donald Trump is not a human being, in my opinion. He is a creature sent from God. With what this man is able to accomplish, with what this man is able to do, with how he's able to negotiate, it is truly, as I said, it gives me chills, and it should give you chills knowing that we're in this position right now. And I didn't ever think we were going to be there. Before we get back into this and get to some more news of the day and everything that's going on around the world, we're going to have a really great guest today, a good friend of mine, Stephen Gardner, the host of the Stephen Gardner Show, one of my favorite guests to talk to lighten the mood. RFK Jr. was on Capitol Hill today, and boy, does RFK hold absolutely no punches back, going after Democrat Congressman Frank Pallone for accepting $2 million of big pharma money. Take a listen to RFK Jr.
And I'll address you, Congressman Pallone. 15 years ago, you and I met. You were at that time a champion for people who had suffered injuries from vaccines. You were very adamant about it. You were the leading member of Congress on that issue. Since then, you've accepted $2 million from pharmaceutical companies in contribution, more than any other member of this committee. And your enthusiasm for supporting the old ACIP committee, which was completely rife and pervasive with pharmaceutical conflicts, seems to be an outcome of those contributions.
Mr. Chairman, point of order. Point of order.
The chair recognizes.
Point of order. The
Dr.
gentleman is impugning the reputation of a member of Congress.
Mr. Pallone.
Impugning the record and reputation of a member of Congress. Well, to impugn his reputation, you would have to say that what RFK Jr., what Secretary Kennedy was saying there was not true. But the records show otherwise, that he did indeed take that $2 million from Big Pharma. This is why I love RFK so much. It's because he owes nobody anything and nobody owes him anything. And he doesn't care about going out there speaking the truth and hurting these people's feelings. Totally brilliant man. Totally brilliant. And he's another one. I commend one of President Trump's greatest picks for a cabinet position. It's a man who means what he says and says what he means. And like I said, uncompromised, uncompromisable, doesn't owe anybody anything. Nobody owes him anything. And he's able to go out there and speak his mind and call out these corrupt politicians, both Republican and Democrat. You know, I'm not going to sit here and defend Republicans. I often come out here and I catch a lot of flack from you guys in the audience for going after Republicans. I'm here to report the news. The news happens to be like 90% on the side favoring the Republicans, but when it doesn't, I'm going to be here just to call them out just as much as I do with the Democrats, because that's what you folks deserve out there. You guys deserve the truth. And as I said, I'm going to bring it to you. There's so much to talk about today. There's so much to get to. And as I said, a wonderful guest coming up here on the other side of this short break. President Trump, impeachment, is it coming again? The Democrats are having a very hard time with Donald Trump. Maybe getting world peace in the Middle East. They're having a very, very, very tough time. Folks, we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back on the other side of this break, we're going to be joined by the great Stephen Gardner. Stay with us.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. You know, I've got all your MyPillow products. Mattress topper, bed sheets, MyPillows, towels, slippers, blankets.
I'm interrupting this commercial to do something I've never done before. Get 2 MyPillows absolutely free on orders of $100 or more. I can't do this forever, so get on board with this great sale today. Our best-selling 6-piece bath towel sets or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Our famous standard MyPillows only $14.98. Queens $18.98. King size only $1 more. Body pillows $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase $9.98. Save $40 on our spring percale Giza Dream bed sheet sets. Any size, any color. So go to MyPillow.com or call that number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And when you spend $100 or more, get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
Stephen, as always, it's great and a delight to talk to you here on the Great America Show. We always have a great deal of fun. This week is starting out rather interesting. I thought Saturday night when I was out about to go get a drink with one of my buddies, and I get the news that America has just blown up the nuclear facilities in Iran, I thought, okay, here we go. The weekend progresses. Monday comes along. The rockets are still flying. Monday night, lo and behold, comes around. Donald Trump announces that this war that CNN said was going to take 2 years, it's now only taken a few days. Donald Trump departed for the Netherlands for a summit earlier this morning and had this to say about this new ceasefire that he's secured between Iran and Israel.
Israel says that Iran violated the peace agreement and the ceasefire agreement. Do you believe that Iran is still committed to peace?
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I'd never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have 2 countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Do you have kind of respond in Iran?
Sort of a mic drop moment there, Steve. What's going on in America? What's going on in Iran? And what's going on in Israel?
You know, I tell my kids, because we don't use curse words very often, but those are a pressure relief valve or a punctuation on a sentence. And I think what President Trump is trying to say is, I am bending over backwards to bring peace, and you guys are making my life really hard. It's like a parent that's like, I just cleaned this kitchen, right? Except for people die when the kitchen's not clean. So I can sense President Trump's frustration. It's with both sides. He's saying, listen, I'm back in America saying I'm Israel's puppet, and yet I'm mad at Israel. I'm trying to make Iran be a good global citizen, and now they want to continue to attack you. So, I mean, these are countries that have been at war for many, many years. These are religions that have been at war for 1,000, I guess over 1,000 years. And I don't know that we're going to actually see this thing come to an end. I believe that President Trump is about to ratchet the pressure. He might have to ratchet the pressure on Israel more than Iran, but only time is going to tell. But he's obviously frustrated that this war is not coming to an end the way that he wants it to.
Yeah, and I think he has every right to be. He's put his rear end on the line, Stephen, on both sides. By bombing those nuclear facilities, right? He puts it on the line because the next day then they launch a strike on Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, where we have 10,000 troops and over 100 aircrafts. He goes out and does that to protect America and to protect Israel. And then he puts a ceasefire together and he says, all right, idiot, you over there, Iran, you idiots, stop shooting missiles. Idiots over there, Israel, you guys stop shooting missiles over there. And he's somehow found himself being like the principal or the parent. And it's like, dude, we're trying to get world peace here. Both of you people act like adults and just stop. And let's come to the table. To get Iran to come to the table and issue a ceasefire, I think is bigger than vice versa, because Iran's the one that we're trying to simmer down to get nuclear weapons away from. So to even get them to come to the table, Stephen, in my opinion, is just this massive, massive thing that I think Israel should appreciate greatly.
Yeah, I agree with you. As he said there, we get this ceasefire agreement. Iran agrees to it. And what did Israel do? Within the first hour, they dropped a tremendous amount of bombs. Like, that doesn't say that. Like, that's my frustration with Zelensky in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Russia says we want this to come to an end. Ukraine says we do too. And then they do this massive drone attack deep into Russia. And then they go, we did this in order to end the war. Really? That doesn't look like you did it to end the war. And then within a week, they blow up a bridge from Russia to Crimea. Again, we bombed this bridge to end the war. Like, you don't end the war by continuing to drop bombs.
Yeah, I don't think these people get the picture. It's like, obviously, war makes money for the wrong, all the types of wrong people in this world, right? The military industrial complex, the people that we all despise for prolonging every single useless and needless war that America's been in the last 25 years. And you could go down the list. You can go down and raffle off the main ones: Iraq, Afghanistan, and Syria, Libya. I mean, all these countries that we have went into that we should have honestly had nothing to do with. Let's talk about the people we were talking before the show that turned on Trump in this period of time when it was time for him to figure out what the heck was going on. Now, when he first said that they were going to go in and maybe bomb Iran, I didn't think that it was going to be this smooth, this easy, this not messy at all, no leaks, no Americans dead, not one American soldier on the ground. Now, I didn't agree, Stephen. I have to be honest, and I've said it on this show. I'm not one of these people who's going to say I said one thing and I said another. I didn't agree with America intervening in this war. Now, in hindsight, but I didn't go balls to the wall and say Donald Trump's an idiot. Donald Trump doesn't know what he's doing. I said I don't agree with it, and I hope he doesn't do it. If he does it, I hope it ends well and everything goes well. It happened. It went extremely well, and I'm proud and happy that he is our commander-in-chief, and that's the way I look at it. But other people don't see it the same way, Steve.
I'm not going to lie. I sat in a little bit of confusion myself. I was on vacation. I was dealing with a broken down car and frustrated with bad internet. And then I start reading this and I'm like, okay, my problems are small compared to what Trump's dealing with. And I started thinking through it. And then I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Let me just pull back from the hysteria of CNN, the hysteria of Fox News, and just think through this. This is a man who for 10 years has said, I will do whatever it takes to keep America safe and to keep nuclear weapons away from Iran. So I just put a little check in my mind, right? This is also a guy who said, if I were to use the military, I would go in with massive strength and then it would be done and over. No more endless wars. Check. Okay. This is a man who, whether you're a religious person or not, believes that he avoided assassination and that God left him here to be a president to make America great and to bring global peace. So like I could list off a few more, but my point is I started going back like, okay, who is Donald Trump, right? And I thought, okay, he must obviously have intel that they were close to getting a bomb. I think at the same time, he's saying, okay, I'm not Israel's puppet, but I now have to step in as the alpha male and take control of the situation. But I'm not going to lie, from just like standing back, reading what they were able to accomplish from Missouri over to dropping bombs and back, I'm like, this is going to be a movie one day I believe. This is like something out of Mission Impossible. The fact that they pulled this off, they tricked most of DC, they tricked the media, they tricked a lot of us, and then they pulled this off without a bullet fired. Like Iran had their pants down. They didn't even get a shot off. So to me, I think it's a pretty impressive military strike.
And we find out that main base that they hit this morning, according to U.S. intel, Iran said that they moved out any sort of nuclear machinery or anything like that, maybe enriched uranium. We find out today that that's not entirely true, so which means it was probably in that location, which means that's probably why Iran is coming to the table right now, metaphorically on their knees, maybe not so metaphorically, who knows. But I think they're in a very vulnerable situation right now, Stephen. The world is against them. Now, even the people who are extremely anti-Israel are also against Iran because you look, and now I'm not saying these are America's issues because they're not. Human rights abuses, they go on in every single country. I'll argue we got our own human rights abuses here in America. Look what they did to Donald Trump for the last 4 years, right? That's a human rights abuse on my scale. But it's many other people who have been wrongly accused, wrongly convicted, whatever. We have them here in America. They have them there. Every country has their own. That's not for America to go out there and legislate. It's not our job. They need to take care of it themselves. If they want a regime change, the people need to overthrow that government, and that's on them. That's not on America, because if that were the case, we'd be doing it in China right now, as China persecutes Christians and everyone and Muslims and anyone who doesn't believe in what Xi Jinping believes in. But that's not our position. Our position is to ensure that Iran does not get nuclear weapons and Iran stops threatening the world. But to me, it was so telling, and I keep trying to reiterate this, that not one country surrounding them came to their defense. Not Pakistan, not Afghanistan that's run by terrorists right now, not Qatar, not Saudi Arabia. And I think Donald Trump's trip to the Middle East a month or two ago has a very big part of this.
Yeah, I believe the Abraham Accords from his first term played a huge role. And then going over there, my first thought was, oh my gosh, how is Qatar going to react to being attacked because of America's presence in their country? Then I started thinking, well, wait a minute. They just committed $1.2 trillion to invest in the United States because of Donald Trump, $250 billion airplane package with an American company, Boeing. Then you find out that Iran actually gave the Qatari government a heads up. Hey, we're going to hit you. It's symbolic. We're going to hit a non-populated area. I promise you, they were very cautious to not kill an American soldier, because we would have seen a very different Donald Trump had an American been killed. So I think that Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, all of those surrounding areas, they don't want war, but they're also not going to go against America.
It's a very big mistake. And you're right. Donald Trump is like the sleeping cat. You don't want to wake him up, and you don't want to, not, of course, metaphorically, because that man doesn't sleep. He's always awake. But you don't want to poke him too hard, because when push comes to shove, he will go full force, but he doesn't want to. In my opinion, and this is not confirmed, this is not told to me by anybody, I think that Donald Trump has come out so against George Bush, as the world has, right, with Iraq, that he's terrified of being George Bush. He doesn't want to get us into an endless war, because he's spoken out against, and so many of us have spoken out against it for years, that he does not want to be George Bush 2.0. And based on his strikes over the weekend, he's doing everything he can to not be.
Yeah, I saw a meme from Dave Smith and others that are, more libertarian minded. But yes, man, as soon as Trump said we might have to do something with the military, like all of these independent libertarian types, they just turned on him. He hadn't even done anything yet. But then they start putting out these memes where they have AI blending the face of Trump and George W. Bush, and they're calling him George W. Trump. And they are saying that. Now, this morning, Jeb Bush put out a message saying that this was one of the best military strikes, one of the cleanest, that for many, many years, previous presidents have said they're going to deal with Iran. And President Trump actually did it. And he did it without a shot fired or an American injured or killed. And President Trump said, thanks, Jeb. I really appreciate that. So I know that there's bad blood because Trump was very much against the war in the Middle East. He said, if you're going to be there, you might as well take the oil. Like, what the heck are we doing there? He was against it. And so I do believe he wants to be known as the president of peace. At the same time, I see this as President Trump knows that sometimes you got to punch a bully in the nose really hard. And then they go, okay, I don't want to fight anymore. I think that's what he did here. He hit Iran really hard. And now they're saying, hey, we want to come to the table. So now he's dealing with Israel that doesn't want this war to end, but they still want American support. They're going to lose the support of America if they continue to fight wars that we don't want them involved in.
Yep. And I think public opinion polling is going to show just that. Mark Mitchell of Rasmussen assures me that's what his polling that's not out yet is currently showing. He said I can say that, but that's what is currently showing. Donald Trump's not asking for much. Just get rid of the nuclear weapons. America's never going to use a nuclear weapon. And the reason why everyone's like, oh, well, why can Pakistan have one? Why could Russia have one? Why could they so and so, blah, blah. Because they're not going to use them. They're maybe crazy in these regimes, but they're sane enough to know that once one nuclear weapon is launched, even one is all that we need in order to ruin this world. So that's all Donald Trump wants. He was asked this morning about regime change. Take a listen to what he had to say.
Do you want to see regime change in Iran?
No. If there was. But no, I don't want it. I'd like to see everything calm down as quickly as possible. Regime change takes chaos. And ideally, we don't want to see so much chaos. So we'll see how it does. You know, the Iranians are very good traders, very good business people, and they got a lot of oil. They should be fine. They should be able to rebuild and do a good job. They're never going to have nuclear, but other than that, they should do a great job.
It seems like Donald Trump is all for normalizing relations with Iran, even down to the metric of trade. Why wouldn't these people want this?
Well, you have the war hawks, the war machine, the military-industrial complex. You've got the Zionists. They all want this war. President Trump does not want this war. You know, I read online a lot of people were mad that President Trump thanked God that the mission to hit the 3 nuclear sites went well. He then said, may God bless Israel, may God bless Iran, and may God bless America. And they hated that. Oh, we don't want, but the problem is, as soon as you make another human an animal or a number or, some kind of, bad word, it's really easy to just think you can just kill them. And so I think Trump is trying to normalize that. I think he's going, hey, you know what everyone wants? They want safety for their family and they want to make money. So why don't I lead with business and trade versus bullets and tanks? And I think most people are used to fighting to avoid war or fighting for war. They're not used to somebody saying, we're going to do peace through strength.
Yeah, they don't understand it. As expected, Stephen, the Marxist Dems on the left, I guess where else are they going to be? Already talking about the I word, impeachment. Never did I think that John Fetterman would be the voice of reason for the Democratic Party.
What you think about the possibility? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says the president shouldn't be impeached because he's impulsive. What do you think of that?
No, I mean, of course, no. She knows it. I know it. We all know it. That's not going anywhere. And, he's been impeached twice, and now he's still our president as well now, too. So it's not going anywhere, and I don't think that's helpful. And I think if you throw that term around, that actually diminishes what the severity of what impeachment is really reserved for.
Impulsive, AOC says? What the... Donald Trump is probably more reserved than any president we've ever had in my lifetime when it comes to things like this. Impeachment?
Yeah, that's the first thing that they turn to when it's something that they don't want. I mean, listen, they have become the party of war. They always say, John, oh, I wish these members of Congress would wear stickers on their suit of who really represents them, like NASCAR. The Democrats did that. They all are wearing Ukrainian flags. They all want war with Russia. But when it comes to President Trump actually doing something to keep America safe again, oh, we got to impeach this guy. We got to get him out of here. AOC has brought more bills to the floor that have gone nowhere than any member of Congress. So her opinion matters about zero to me. But I am shocked that John Fetterman seems to be a centrist Democrat. He doesn't want to go further left in order to get more attention. He's actually trying to stay in the center, but he understands impeachment would be a waste of time and a waste of money, and it diminishes. Like, if there's a president that really needs to be impeached, then do it. But to just try to impeach someone because you don't like them, that's a bad use of that policy.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Before we move on from this, we've got to talk about my favorite thug in the House of Representatives, Jasmine Crockett.
I go back in on Monday. You could have hollered at us on Monday. If you truly felt like there was something, like, there is nothing that they will say that will make me believe that this action needed to take place, and it needed to take place without the consultation of the Congress. All right.
Stephen, they could have hollered at us on Monday morning. This is a woman who wants a top secret national security briefing on strikes before they're going to happen. Could she be trusted?
No, and President Trump would never call her. He would never call on AOC. He did call on Chuck Schumer. He did call on Hakeem Jeffries, even though they tried to lie. They got busted because of the White House records. The people that are in top positions were alerted that this was happening. But the main reason that he didn't tell them until right before it happened is they leak everything to the New York Times, to Politico, to Atlantic. I mean, these guys, they are leakers. So why on earth would you trust a leaker who would leak the plan that everyone now is going, oh my gosh, this is such a brilliant military move? He would never call her, no.
Yeah, like much of the Democrat, I don't understand how these people even made it into Congress, how they get top secret national security briefings.
I hear every day about the products you all wish MyPillow carried. Well, guess what? We probably do. Slippers, bathrobes, pet beds, blankets, mattresses, sleepwear, loungewear, duvets, comforters, pot holders, aprons, oven mitts, and so much more. And they're all on sale. For example, get our best-selling standard MyPillows for only $14.98. Body pillows, $29.98. 6-piece bath towels or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase, $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bedsheet sets. Any size, any color, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And I've never done this before. When you spend $100 or more, you're going to get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
We find out this week a professor at Georgetown University, one of the most elite universities in America, Professor Jonathan Brown, who serves as the university's chair of the Department of Arabic and Islamic Studies and is the director of the Prince bin Talal Center for Muslim Christian Understanding, posting a message on on X, quote, "I'm not an expert, but I assume Iran could still get a bomb very easily. I hope Iran does some symbolic strike on a base, and then everyone stops. And then lo and behold, that strike comes on a U.S. base." This is a professor teaching our children here in America. Sick.
Yeah, why would you wish for our own country to be bombed? Like, even Tucker Carlson, as crazy as he's gone over this Iran situation, bad-mouthing Trump, even at least he has the intelligence to say, I'm going to pray that American soldiers, men and women that put on the uniform, are kept safe. And this guy's saying, actually, you know what? I do hope we get bombed. Let's teach Donald Trump a lesson.
Yeah. It's like these numbskulls, Stephen, who prayed for an economic downfall just to spite Donald Trump. You're not spiting Donald Trump. You're spiting every single American who has a 401k, every single American who has a stock portfolio, every single American who's got an IRA. That's who you're spiting. Like Tim Waltz going out there saying, I hope Tesla stock crashes, not realizing that an overwhelming majority of his state's pension fund is invested in Tesla. I mean, these people are so dumb.
Anything Trump says, they just automatically have to take the opposite position. Miracle shots for the COVID? I will never take that. Donald Trump's attached to that. Then Biden comes into office. Everyone needs to get this.
I'll take 10. Give me 10.
Mandatory. Everyone needs 6 boosters. We need to inject children with this, so it's just craziness.
People, Steve, I was on a flight not long ago, sitting and next to me is some angry person. All of a sudden, I mean, you could just tell very angry, 2 angry people. They put on their masks. I'm seeing people wearing masks again, and I'm like, are you guys this naive? Are you guys this dumb? Like, we've already established that masks don't work. If you're nervous about getting a new strain of COVID that's, hitting 1 in every, I'm not even sure what the number is. I'm not going to say a number to get myself in trouble, but, a very low percentage. And these people are out wearing a mask. Maybe you shouldn't just leave your house. It's like people don't learn from the nonsense and lies and stuff that we've been told over the last 4, 8 years, whatever it's been. It's truly pathetic that Americans are this brainwashed by whatever the Democrat leaders tell them to do.
I mean, all the data shows the more boosters you get, the more likely you are to be sick. But, I do have a mask that I plan to wear on the airplane.
Beautiful.
Just my Make America Great Again mask.
It's insane, man. These people went absolutely berserk. Before we talk about some issues here at home, let's wrap up some foreign policy with President Trump on his way, should be on the ground by now, to Amsterdam, not to smoke any marijuana. He's there to go to The Hague to meet with some NATO members where they're now pledging 5% of GDP for a defense fund. And it makes you wonder, Stephen, why is America in NATO anyway? How do they benefit us in the first place, aside from bringing us into every single war that happens in Europe? Like, what's one benefit that you could think of in our lifetime? You're a tiny bit older than me, a few months older than me. In your lifetime, what's one benefit that NATO has done for America that's really saved our bacon?
The only thing I can think of is to keep the dollar the reserve world currency, but that's it. That's the only one. But I don't even know that we need to be in NATO. But the thing that's crazy is, like, what if we used that money to just make our own military great again? Rebuild our stockpiles that we drained for Zelensky. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of NATO because here's the thing. If there was a new Hitler that broke out and there was a major war, countries are going to come to their neighbor's rescue anyway.
Yes.
So why are we wasting money on this NATO situation? I don't understand it. We've got hundreds of thousands of troops sitting in Europe just waiting for a war instead of making America great again, doing infrastructure, going after terrorists, making sure our border's safe. Like, I could think of a lot of ways that hundreds of thousands of U.S. troops could be in America, making America great, instead of sitting in Europe waiting for the next Hitler.
How about securing our southern border? That's a pretty simple and easy one. I say this all the time on the show, and everyone I speak to. I was talking with Colonel Doug McGregor last week about this. We have a war here at home on our southern border that we can win. It's a very winnable, very easy war to take out these drug cartels, and we've taken our eye off the ball to go send them everywhere else but then where it benefits the American citizen. I'd argue with anybody that wants to argue with me that NATO has done more harm to America than that's been worthwhile since 1990. I believe they're the root of the problem in Ukraine right now. I don't believe there's an issue between Russia and Ukraine right now without NATO pushing up on Russia's borders. And that's not me being a Vladimir Putin apologist. It's just the truth of the matter is that NATO has pushed its boundaries and its borders every single day, every single minute, every single year since 1990 towards Russia, and Russia's just had enough. It's like the Cuban Missile Crisis. Why did America get mad that there was missiles just off the coast of America, 90 miles? Well, hello, would you be mad if your neighbor had some grenade launchers pointed at you from your backyard? Yeah.
Yeah, no, Yeah, I think NATO had a place, and now it probably needs to be retired and that money allocated, but they won't get rid of it because it's a warm blanket for a lot of older Americans. I totally get that. We don't want another Hitler to rise to power, but we also don't need to make people into the next Hitler. Like, oh, Vladimir Putin is the next Hitler. Donald Trump is the next Hitler. Yeah. They're not. They just run their stuff differently. But they also maybe wouldn't behave the way they behave if NATO wasn't always encroaching on their territory.
Yeah, and pushing their boundaries and pushing their boundaries. You're absolutely right. Should another world instance happen like that, like what you mentioned Hitler did, I think the entire world would rise up to eliminate that threat immediately without having to have NATO. It's like the Paris, not to get off here on a tangent, but it's like the Paris Climate Accord. Well, you've got to dump hundreds of millions of dollars into this fund to ensure that you guys don't pollute. Well, wait, what? You're telling me I've got to pay all this money to bring down my pollution levels? Well, why don't we just, if you want to bring down pollution levels, why don't you regulate at home and say, hey, this is what the standard should be. You guys should be here and you guys should be here. You produce X amount, so your pollution levels will be here. Simple as that. But no, everything's about money and dumping money into something else. Let's move on to some news here at home. Some very big news yesterday out of the Supreme Court, greenlighting President Trump to allow these third country deportations. Stephen Miller was on Hannity last night, who's the brains behind this entire operation of deportations. Let's take a listen.
This is an incredible victory, the Supreme Court win. It allows President Trump, as the law has long said, but the courts have blocked, it allows President Trump to send illegal aliens convicted of rape, murder, homicide, assault, battery, crimes against children to any country around the world that is willing to accept them. So whether that be South Sudan, or whether it be Somalia, or whether it be Ethiopia, any country in the world that is willing to accept these monsters, we can get them out of our country and be free of them forever. The only thing I have to share tonight, Sean, in a little bit of breaking news, is that the district court judge in Boston has said he's going to defy the Supreme Court's ruling. So expect fireworks tomorrow when we hold this judge accountable for refusing to obey the Supreme Court.
So this is sort of interesting. And I want to take notice on one thing here. This isn't your ordinary Venezuelan or Honduran or Mexican person who's here in America illegally. I have to say illegally, right? Broke the law, but they're here working or doing whatever. They're not harming anybody. They're not selling drugs. They're not killing people. This is the worst people that he was speaking about in this country, Stephen. People here committing crimes. People who are putting drugs on our street. People who are killing people. They're gang members. They're rapists. They're thugs. They're murderers. They're human traffickers. We've heard President Trump, use all those adjectives throughout the last few years. Now able to deport them. You heard him say Sudan. I mean, some of the worst places possibly on earth that you could send people. Does this make people maybe say, I'm out of here on my own? I'm not going to Sudan?
Well, I mean, according to data that I've read, Trump and ICE and DHS, they've rounded up about 150,000 people. 1 million have self-deported.
Yes.
So, yeah, if you remove the golden carrot that American taxpayers are going to be forced to be charitable and allow you to live here better than they do, like that doesn't sit well with the American people. So I want to get those people out. I'm not worried about the person that's picking strawberries. I am worried about the person that is trafficking children, trafficking drugs, that has a rap from coming up from Honduras for killing people. Like those are the people that I'm concerned with. So yeah, if you're a pedophile and a child trafficker, I think you should be shackled, kicked in the crotch a couple times, and then sent off to Sudan.
Yeah, these are the worst people imaginable. We need to focus on them first, get them out of here first, and then figure out what the next steps forward are for the rest of them. Because at the end of the day, I say this all the time. We have a heart, and nobody's got a bigger heart than me. And I'm sure you can say the same thing about yourself, about people who want to come here for a better life. But there's a right way to do it. And, my ancestors did it. I'm sure at some point along your family line, your ancestors did the same thing. And that's just the way it works. We are a nation of law, order, and borders. And, it sucks that that's what it is. And that's the reason we're the greatest country on earth. So like I said, we have a war here at home that needs to be fought. And I say we fight that one before everything else. In just a few short years, Stephen, we have some midterm elections coming up. And Lisa Murkowski, who's been a thorn in the side of every Republican from Alaska, is now open to maybe caucusing with the Marxist Dems under a certain scenario. Take a listen.
Say Democrats win 3 seats in the next midterm election in the Senate, and they say, we're going to let you pass bills that benefit Alaskans if you caucus with us. You don't have to become a Democrat. You can be an independent, but if you caucus with us and provide the sort of 4th vote that we need to get from where we are now, and you can pass legislation that helps Alaskans, would you do it?
It's an interesting hypothetical. You've started off with the right hook here is if this would help Alaskans, because at the end of the day,
I know you.
Yeah, you do.
I've done my reading.
Yeah, see? This is why this book is kind of scary, because now people know what motivates me, and it's this love for Alaska and what I can do. So that's my primary goal.
Her primary goal is to help the people of Alaska. She's done everything but that, doing everything she could to stifle Donald Trump. But now all of a sudden she's open to working with the Democrats if it's for Alaska.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think she should actually be in office. Doesn't Alaska have like a weird weighted way of voting that?
Oh, yeah, they do this thing called ranked choice voting, Stephen, where it lets the Democrats vote in Republican primaries so that the Democrats can vote for Lisa Murkowski so that she's their Republican in the Senate.
Yeah, you know, Trump was just battling rhinos. Now he's battling rhinos and minos, MAGA in name only. And that's a T-shirt that I trademarked. Yeah, Murkowski, I would get rid of her tomorrow if we could. I'm surprised that Trump is pushing so hard on Thomas Massie. He should be pushing more on Murkowski and Collins and those that seem to betray him every single time. You know, members of Congress are so interesting. You know, just when I think like, oh man, Rand Paul is my hero, then he goes and like betrays Trump, and then he's mad that he's not invited to a picnic, and then Trump's like, I didn't uninvite you to a picnic. Of course, come to the picnic. It gives me an opportunity to talk to you. Like, I don't know, members of Congress, I swear, they're like these rudderless boats that are kind of just floating wherever the current pushes them. And by current, I mean insider trading and you know, under the table handouts. But, you know, I just wish one thing that I respect about Trump is he has a vision for where he's going. This probably comes from being the CEO of a $1 billion company for so many years. But if you don't know where you're going, I guess it doesn't matter where you go, right? Right out of Alice in Wonderland. They need to know where they're going or they're going to lose the 2026 election. What they need is more Doge, brag about it. They need more Trump policy, then brag about it. Then you say, look at what the Democrats voted against, and then you brag about it. Like, it's really not that hard, but they're so unincorporated that they're just all going in different directions, and then they wonder why the Republican voters are frustrated with them.
Yeah, and I don't hate Rand Paul. I don't hate Thomas Massie. I think they're two principled people who believe in things. And at the end of the day, both of them want the same thing that Donald Trump wants, with the exception of a few fundamental differences they have. But I think at the end of the day that Massie and Paul both need to just put those differences aside for the betterment of the country, for the betterment of the Republican Party. It does them no good. It does the Republican Party no good. It does America no good when they're at war with Donald Trump. Put those differences to the side. Talk about it in private with Donald Trump. There's nobody more willing to come to a consensus than Donald Trump. That's why when I hear these things, he's a dictator and he's a king, it's like the total opposite. He's a man who's willing to come to consensus on certain things. Sit down with him. Talk about your fundamental differences. Don't take it to the media. Don't take it to Twitter and embarrass the Republican Party. We have massive midterm elections coming up in 2026 that will maybe decide the fate of the country and which direction it takes. Just unite. Come together. This fighting is so stupid.
Yeah, I know, but one of my worries is some of these people, they don't really care if Trump's last 2 years get anything done as long as they get to stay in Congress, right? It's like when I first learned that 90% of children in Baltimore don't know how to read. And I said, why aren't government leaders doing anything about this? And my guest said, oh, they don't care. All they care about is power and money. And I was like, dang, dude, that sucks. Like, I want someone that really cares about America. But a lot of these people, they're so willing to go against Trump because at the end of the day, all they care about is they keep getting their multiple six-figure check, the influence, the praise. But it's time to vote some of these people out. Again, I like Rand Paul. I actually like Thomas Massie. Rand Paul wants more done for America, and Massie wants less done for Israel. Yeah. So, I mean, they're like not that far off the beaten path. But come on, let's just get some stuff done. Let's be united. One thing I say all the time to family and friends is, you know, the Democrats are evil, but at least they stick together. Yeah. You know?
Yep. You're absolutely right. Before we wrap up, let's have some fun with a Democrat who's lost their absolute mind. None other than Rosie O'Donnell, who's currently got me blocked on Twitter. I don't know what I said to her, but I made her very upset, I have to assume. But, you know, I'm sure it's for the best. Let's take a listen to what Rosie O'Donnell had to say, who, by the way, fled the country when Donald Trump won. Take a listen.
You know, a lot of people did vote for him.
Yes.
Do you accept their right to do that and their opinion of him?
Well, I respect their right to do that. I question why the first time in American history a president has won every swing state and is also best friends, and his largest donor was a man who owns and runs the internet. So I would hope that would be investigated and that we would see whether or not it was an anomaly or something else that happened on election night in America when Kamala Harris was filling up stadiums with people who supported her, and Donald Trump was not able to do that. So it's curious to me. And as an American and a believer in democracy, I would hope that we would be able to look at all of the reasons why this happened in our country.
I'm sorry, I can't keep it together there.
In our country that I fled.
Hold on real quick. Filled up state. I had to write this down because there were so many lies in that, number one. Filled up stadiums when Donald Trump couldn't. That's total nonsense. I don't know if you've ever been to a Trump rally, Stephen, but there's not enough room to even breathe in one of these places. There's so many damn people. Owns and runs the internet. What was her problem in 2020 when Mark Zuckerberg dumped in, I don't even remember how much money it was in
440 million.
There you go, 440 plus all the outside money. You know, you're probably near $1 billion spent against Donald Trump by the people who run and own the internet. She also mentions Donald Trump winning all the swing states. First of all, I don't consider Florida and Ohio swing states anymore. Those are Republican strongholds, haven't been lost by a Republican since 2012, whereas Barack Hussein Obama. But that's not true. Ronald Reagan won 49 states in 84. He lost Minnesota, so I guess we'll consider that a swing state. Richard Nixon in 72 won 49 states, winning every single swing state, 5, or if you want to call it 7. Also, if we want to look back in 2020, Joe Biden won every single swing state. Like I said, I don't consider Florida or Ohio swing states anymore. But Joe Biden won Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. So if she wants to go take a look back at election, I didn't hear as much fraud in this 2024 election than I did in 2020. Why don't we take a look back at the 2020 election first, Rosie?
Well, it sounds like they're going to. Didn't Trump just ask for an inspector general to look into that? So let me go back through a couple of things. First of all, bless her heart. I'm going to give her a pass only because I loved her in a League of Their Own baseball movie. But Rosie O'Donnell, you left America. You abandoned us. So that's not good. But number one, Kamala Harris did not have sold out stadiums. They booked her where there were concerts or free concerts.
Yeah.
And the people were mad when Beyonce got paid $10 million and then didn't sing a single song. So there's that. Trump had massive attendance. He did 10 times as many rallies with 10 times as many people. So they were really smart to try to fake that enthusiasm. 2, Elon Musk doesn't own the internet. right? And like, as you mentioned, he had so many people against him. The only reason that Amazon and Zuckerberg are kissing his butt now is because they don't want to get hit with antitrust lawsuits and other issues. And then what was the last one that I wanted to talk about? She didn't question the fact that Joe Biden lost 18 of the 19 bellwether counties and still miraculously won. And she didn't have a problem that every swing state that stopped counting that Trump was winning in magically went to Joe Biden in the middle of the night. But again, bless her heart over there in Ireland.
Yeah. Ireland's a beautiful place. I've been there many times, where my family hails from. You mentioned you liked Rosie O'Donnell. I liked Rosie O'Donnell. You ever seen the show Impractical Jokers?
Yes.
Four fellows from Staten Island. Yes. Rosie resembles one of them. That's where I liked her. I think the name is.
I know just which one you're talking about.
Yeah, that's where I liked Rosie acting, and it's probably why she's got me blocked on Twitter. It's not very nice of me. You had mentioned earlier in the show about curse words in your family. I'm trying my best to try to cut them out. It's not easy being from New York, Stephen, and having a vocabulary that doesn't consist of cuss words. But I'm doing my best, and I promised the great Lou Dobbs I was going to do my best. It's hard though. These people piss me off, Stephen. They really do, and they get the best of me.
Yeah, well, I wish you the best of luck. I know that cussing can be a hard one to drop. So I wish you luck.
It's easier to give up like pizza for me, which is my favorite food, than that. It's tough, and everyone who listens to the show and they get mad at me, I apologize and I apologize and I apologize again.
Every time you cuss, an angel doesn't get its wings.
Maybe that'll help me. But I think I'm doing better than 6 months ago. So every 6 months it progresses. We hope to do a little better. Stephen Gardner, the host of the Stephen Gardner Show on YouTube. Folks, we recommend it to you highly. I catch Stephen's show as much as I possibly can, a few times a week. Great insight, great guest, great questions. Stephen, you get the last words here as we wrap up.
I want to go back to what I said. When you doubt Donald Trump, you have to just think back. Who is this man? Who is his character? I don't believe he's going to betray himself in order to selfishly do something that he wants or that some other country hopes or wants him to do. He is going to do what he thinks is best to make America great again. And I trust him. That's why I voted for him 3 times.
Yep, and I'm going to vote for him a 4th. I'm just kidding. But no, you're absolutely right. He is his own man, and he's not bought by anybody. And if you want proof of that, go look at his relationship with Elon Musk. Elon Musk thought he was going to get this, and this, and electrical vehicles, this, and subsidies. Didn't matter. Didn't matter how much money he spent on him. Didn't matter how many times he slept in the Lincoln bedroom in the White House. How many times they woke up in the middle of the night to go down to the kitchen, have ice cream together. It's not who Donald Trump is. He's uncompromisable, if that is a word. I believe it's a word. But it's just what it is. That's who Donald Trump is. He won't be compromised regardless of who you are. And that's why he is the greatest president, in my opinion, this country has ever seen. Stephen Gardner, the host of the Stephen Gardner Show. You can find him on YouTube at Stephen Gardner1. We encourage you to follow him there, Rumble, wherever you guys watch your shows, your podcast, Twitter, to catch all of Stephen's updates. Stephen, we'll have you soon. We'll have you back here soon. We always enjoy talking with you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody, for being with us today here on The Great America Show. We hope to see you back here tomorrow for The Great America Show, where our quest for truth, justice, and the American way continues. Same time, same place tomorrow. Until then, may God bless you. May God bless America. And may God bless the great Lou Dobbs. Have a great night, everybody.